Welcome. We're the professional lovers.
And welcome to the Professional Lover channel. I'm Patty,
And I'm Al.
and we are glad to be here. And we're going to have a special video recording chat today with some new friends that we've just met who are also Married at First Sight fans. So we're relationships, and we're still talking using Married at First Sight in order to look at principles of forming good relationships. So we hope that you enjoy this special presentation.
All right. Last but not least, we have Ryan and Clara, which I am just rooting for them because we don't see a lot of interracial couples on this show. And spoiler alert, I'm in an interracial relationship and it's awesome. Yeah. I mean, I don't necessarily relate to Clara very much, really at all, but I mean, at the very least, having a little bit of that type of relationship representation is pretty cool.
So maybe you should go first then this time.
Okay. I'll just start with I like Ryan a lot. He seems very earnest. He seems I don't know. He just seems like he's kind of ready for this. He's thought about it a lot. He has a very, very regimented kind of lifestyle that I think, could be benefited by having a partner to kind of bring in new things, some new energy. I think he was the one that was I have the same smoothie every morning. I do 2 to 3 hours of working out every night. And I'm that's probably going to change, bud. You're going to have some free time for your person. And, so I think he could be a really, really great person for that. He seems, sorry, dog. He seems very empathetic and, he talks about growing up in a community where he was one of just a couple kids of color in school, and how he's just kind of had to be in that environment. And then I that's not my experience, so I can't speak to that. But I would think that fosters a lot of empathy and in the independence and that kind of thing. So I feel he has a lot to give. With Clara, she just kind of comes off as kind of fake party girl to me. I don't really know what, she was the one that had Jello shots in her fridge, which I'm okay, it's not a marriage can't exist with somebody who makes Jello shots, but we're in a different life stage right now than we're talking about. So how is this gonna go? And I don't know. I didn't get that same level of emotional maturity and earnestness from her. And so I just hope that she's going to take it seriously and give it her best shot and be a good partner to him. It's early. We'll see. So I don't know. What y'all think?
Well, excuse me. If I'm not mistaken, and I understand your point, the Jello shots were a request from someone for a party or something like that. That wasn't her normal consumption that out of her refrigerator.
Jello shots.
But I think her diversity, her experiences, bring a certain comfort to that type of relationship for the simple fact that she's experienced, all spectrums of nationalities, so to speak, or ethnicities. Him being a product of a mixed relationship as well. He has somewhat more of a conservative outlook on life for the simple fact that he's had to negotiate and navigate certain things. I myself have been in a predominantly Black environment for the simple fact that I work at an HBCU, but my schooling and upbringing has been in some predominantly white private institutions and things of that nature, where I've had to kind of navigate through biracial situations and alternative situations where, trying to figure this out as a youngster, made me more adaptable to whatever situations I now find myself in. So I think both of them, because of their experiences, bring a a type of freedom to their connection that neither one of them really have to really concern themselves with because of the lifestyle that they've already led. It's just literally about focusing on each other. And I think because of their experiences, that's all they have to really deal with. Once they realize, because again, this new blindfold situation, they don't get to see each other until they're literally right in front of one another. I think that almost, once they open their eyes, kind of will have a I guess, for lack of a better term, a freedom. Once they see each other, it's like, I just need to get to know you, and it's not, totally abstract and so abnormal that, they can't be their genuine selves. So that's me.
I didn't really get a read on her. I felt about her what you guys said about Virginia, because literally on my notes, all I have next to her name is flight attendant. Yeah. And the fact that she likes guys with flavor. That's all I got. So I don't, I did, see him as being, extremely rigid, just
conservative.
And say he grew up in a predominantly white, rural, conservative environment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that'll do.
But so I with them, I'm just waiting to see how it unfolds. Because I really don't have, I couldn't get a read on her as described by herself, because it didn't seem like she talked a lot about herself or her background.
It felt very fluffy kind of stuff that she was saying.
So so for me, it would be a thing of, what will her evolution be like through this process that we get to see, and then how will that integrate or mesh with what we already know about him.
Mm-hmm. So I personally, there are some things that when someone brings up, are just like automatic triggers for me, like saying the word picky. And for me, every single time someone has tried to self-proclaim how amazing dater I am, I don't like that. And so when she was talking about how racially agnostic I am to dating, I was like, oh, please, like, don't try to be this self-proclaimed. Like, and I was a little turned off by that comment. And then in addition to that, when she kept like trying to like boast herself, talking about activism is so important to her. And like, hey, please, like be active. Like there are definitely things that we all need to support, but it seemed a little bit forced for me. And maybe, interview, you're trying to put your best foot forward. You want to make sure to mention everything, to make you look good, but I wasn't sure. So I'm curious to see, as we get to know her more, are these things that actually stick around? Or is this something you wanted to mention in the interview, make sure people know about you up front, and then it's like, all right, cool, thanks, bye. So I'm interested to see how they develop. But from the bat, her vibes, they didn't really seem genuine, like you were saying, Ashley. I didn't really see that in her. But from Ryan, he gave me also vibes from, I'm forgetting everybody's name, but previous
from a different season.
What? Previous season.
From previous season.
Yeah, they had a baby right away, and they're Southern.
Oh, Bobby and Danielle.
Bobby, thank you.
Yeah.
That's the vibe I got from him. And like, hey, maybe that's just his lifestyle, and that's like he knows what he wants, and this is him, and cool. But like that's all I got.
That's a great point. He's definitely the mixed Bobby. That was my initial thoughts too. You mentioned it in the interview when she said like protesting. I'm like, do you feel like you have to say that if you're dating, someone outside of your race? But I then put myself in their shoes, and I think like she knows that she's dating someone outside of her race. Like the amount of questions she received that were dating outside of your race related. And I have a feeling during the interview, they were specifically trying to touch upon race related things, right? So like when she said the whole data, the color of the rainbow thing, like that feels like in her first interview, she mentioned it. Like from what I've read out the process, you have multiple interviews.
Mm-hmm.
She had to repeat that line multiple times. And that's what I'm trying to tell myself, because if she just threw that out of nowhere, I like the fear is like it's a fetish thing. So I get why people would be like, like that's weird. But I think she just had to say that because that's all the questions she received. That's me giving her the benefit of the doubt. So I there's that. And then in terms of him, I think he is, like you said, a Bobby, definitely. Like the Southern gentleman, very, all-American football and like barbecues with the family. Like he seems, the hair is a bit weird to me. Maybe I'm,
Another hair
I'm just,
comment.
but like, what's with the,
Great, weird. Yeah.
It was a little weird to me too.
It's a modern take on a mohawk.
It's a mohawk that's sleeping.
Yeah.
I've done weird stuff with my hair. I can't judge, but I'm like, that's okay. That's interesting. So I think he is ready for this process. And if you're going to pick someone for the first interracial contestant on the show, I think he's actually a good choice. He's ambiguous enough that I had no idea what he was. I'm like, I don't know if you're black or Hispanic, or like he's everything, so there's that. He's very wholesome from his interview, so I think I could see them working out. Just seeing more of her personalities, and then the ending portion where she talked about the whole booty call, an ex reaching out.
Mm-hmm.
She used the term he wanted to read a book, which I've never heard someone refer to booty call as that before. I don't know if that's a Southern thing.
I'm old.
Not that we know of. We're in Alabama.
And I'm old, so I never
hadn't heard that phrase.